made one of the most sensational debuts in 2022, and I'm sitting here today with Bhopal-based Shikhar Chaudhary, who goes by Shikhar. Hello, Shikhar. How are you doing?
Hello, Vijayalakshmi. How you doing? Doing so good. Just happy to be here. Yeah.
I'm firstly very excited to see that there is another blue color. There's a blue wall from the other screen. By now, people are fed up with my standard blue wall, so I'm
Yeah.
glad to see somebody giving me
No, I
company
had to
for a
match
change.
you, and plus, I this is my favorite color. And all my room has like washed out, depressing ass colors. So all of my like I have a bunch of paintings here, and they all like either like very deep, like very teal, washed out teal, or like washed out grays and stuff. It's very just monotonous here. Like it's very dull, but I like it that way.
I see a very, very notable Franz Kafka book stand out, in the collection
Which one?
behind you
Oh,
there. I
the
think it's a cream color
Metamorphosis.
one.
The
No, the cream color
Metamorphosis,
one.
right? Oh. Yeah, there's
No,
these. This is like the compilation of it. I
yeah,
honestly I don't care much for Kafka itself, but I like reading a bunch of things. But like there's a bunch of my
I can
favorite
tell
books.
you're the reader. You're quite the reader.
I'm not quite the reader. I don't think I can say I'm quite the reader, but I do like poetry. There's a bunch of poetry. There's Faiz Ahmed Faiz here. There's Neruda. There's wish to get some Richard Saikin. This is my like I have like a shelf which is like like the upper shelf is like all my favorites, and there's like the middle shelf which some of them are like my favorite ones, but some like most of them that make to this shelf are like the ones that I on it like love through and through.
Listen, you mentioned Faze and Neruda, and I'm already, intrigued by, what kind of a beautiful bend of mind do you have? Because that reflects in your wonderful EP, Moonbrain,
Oh,
which
dude, thank you.
clearly has, wowed all independent music enthusiasts across our country. Your EP has been listed as one of the best to have come out from 2022 by so many publications, I think, including the Rolling Stone. Firstly, Shikhar, congratulations.
Thank you so much.
What is the mind space currently after having released an EP? That firstly, I'm sure it took a great deal for you, and then once that it went out there to have received that kind of reception from people, to the fact that just very recently you opened for Raman Negi's show at Antisocial in Mumbai.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So how do you look at and process at your journey so far?
I would say that people have been very kind. Everybody who's heard it and given it time to listen to it has sort of taken the time to write back or sort of like been like, oh, this is good. And honestly, I didn't expect like a lot of people to get back to me the way that they did. Like you ended up featuring it on your playlist. Rolling Stone for my first single ended up doing that, and yeah, I'm just happy that a lot of people ended up checking it out despite it being my first release, because I know a lot of people, because like everyone in the industry will anyway say to you, oh, just like a first release, just put it out, like, and I'm like, no, but like I'm not releasing it as a first release, I'm releasing it as like something I deeply care for. And I've just been I'm happy with the response. People have loved it very deeply. I get like just like texts about how, and everyone was like, it's a weird name. Moonbrain's a weird name. It doesn't really, it's not a real word exactly. So everyone was like, yo, no one will sort of get what the point of it all is. And people got it. People exactly what it meant, and people are always going to be smarter. So I'm happy about like how much it's meant to some people, and like yeah, that's been very nice. And the gig was really good. Raman gig. Shout out to Raman for. I just like tested him like, dude, can I just do it? And he was like, yeah, just hop on. And that happened, which was great. And the gig was fun. Yeah, so excited about that, but I'm just always like thinking about what's next. What do we do next? So yeah, I'm writing more. That's kind of what's been up right now. Yeah.
But for many who still aren't particularly aware or haven't had the chance yet to catch up with Moonbrain, in a nutshell, if you just want to tell them what Moonbrain is really about, and from what kind of a mind space did you think of it and conceptualize it, and
Hmm.
what did your songwriting process involve? Because I believe you're somebody who is your songwriting has been said that it's very contemplative, and it has a very guitar first approach to it. So
Right.
when you are writing the melodies, how do you work your way about it?
Okay, so Moonbrain, since you asked what it's about, so, essentially it's about my inability to deal with internal problems. It's essentially it's the album came from the inability to find a home or like a belongingness, the inability to deal with inner anxieties, the inability to do things on time and instead of just like waiting for the right time. Hindsight's about waiting forever for the right time. It's one of the songs. Moonbrain's about not finding home. And yeah, so essentially, it's about my inability to just, and I just felt like, yeah, those are important things, and I think a lot of people sort of deal with that sort of a thing, and that's what I wanted to write about, and it came very natural to me, and it really means a lot to me because I do feel all of those things. Um, Other than that, what did you ask again right after that? Oh, the guitar centric approach. Yeah. So I'm a guitar player first. I've been playing guitar since like 8, 9, 10 years now. So I've always been a guitar player first. I've been inspired by so many great artists. Eric Johnson, I'm a huge Eric Johnson fan. John Mayer, Jeff Beck just passed away. So many great guitar players that have inspired me. Dave Matthews, Tim Reynolds from his
Yeah,
band, all of these artists are just like Joni Mitchell was such a fantastic
yeah,
guitar player. I don't think she gets any credit for how great she was, just because I feel like singer-songwriters don't get great credit for their instrumentality or whatever, like because they also sing with it.
yeah.
Joni Mitchell, I feel, did such a great, like, wrote such great guitar parts. So yeah, I've just been raised on really good instrumentalists like Sting and like all these people, and that's sort of always been like my first thing. But writing a song is always a mixed bag for me. I don't first go for like the melody. I don't first go for just the guitar. It's like I write something and I put it in the back of the trunk. It's always like sitting in there for like months, and one day it'll come out, and I'll be like, oh shit, maybe I should sing over it. So it's a different approach every time. I don't think it's one way. Uh, I wish it was, right. It would be so much easier. Oh, this how I do. This is how I write a song. Sit down, write a song, done. It's so fun. But yeah, my approach is like a mixed bag. Sometimes I have words, interesting words, um, that I write, put away, come back to. Sometimes I have guitar parts and I'm like, yo, that's a cool thing, and I'll be playing it for my friends for months and years, and they'll be like, what is that? I'm like, that's something. That's something. You'll know there is something, and yeah, eventually one day I have some words for it, and then they're like, yeah. They either say it like, yeah, that's great, or they're like, mm-hmm, okay, and then I'm like, okay, I didn't impress them, which is fine. Yeah, that's
You
kind of
know,
like my songwriting. Yeah.
yeah, sorry to have cut you, but
You're okay.
it's interesting you talk about, how there's no fixed process, because I remember once interacting with a leading producer who has worked with some of the country's best rappers. And he
Wow.
said that, when these rappers are writing their verses, like they can literally pick up a piece of paper and they see something written on it and they get their inspiration, to write a song just basis on what they have seen, or, what is happening around them at that moment. So do you think that, as an artist, you need to like sometimes drown out all the unnecessary noises and actually keep a clean slate, a clear mind, and a keen eye for, the mundane?
100%. I think if you're not looking, you sometimes don't find. I mean, like, of course, songs will surprise you, but if you're always looking, if you're waking up and you write something, and I think that's the best thing. If you wake up, you write something for like 10 minutes, then you've kind of opened that part of your brain where you're looking, where you're subconsciously looking for something in the air. And it's obviously great. I mean, when the songs surprise you and you've not been searching for anything, but it comes to you, that's great, right? That's everybody loves that, right? But that doesn't happen every time. You have to go
Yeah.
actively searching for it. You have to sit down and be like, okay, right now I'm gonna write something, and even if it's bad, I'm gonna put something down. And that's essentially what you're talking about, right? Like you gotta be looking out. You gotta be looking for songs more than and more than the songs come to you. Like you should be like always on the prowl. I always write. I cannot imagine a life where I'm not excited about a new song. Even when I'm like, even the songs that I'm gonna be releasing next are already old songs in my head, because I already have newer songs that I'm like writing like a week ago, right? You get what I
Yeah,
mean? So
right,
I'm always like, oh shit, I always need puzzles to fix, always need something more to write, something new to write. And yeah, I like myself best when I'm looking out. I'm not gonna be preachy and be like, oh, I'm always waking up and thinking about what I should write today. Sometimes
right.
you just like wake up at like 1 and you're like just spend like just scrolling. But yeah, I think the best kind of days are when you actively look out for things. Yeah.
But tell me this then again, Shikhar. Sometimes you write a song as per your, as a part of your journey, as a part of, the time when you wrote it. Some years have passed. We have survived, a pandemic also in between, and suddenly there, at least in the outer space, in the outer scheme of things, there's a massive paradigm shift in what the audiences are listening, or in what
Right.
is reaching them also, rather, through all the different channels that are
Right.
involved in the process.
Right.
So where so what happens in all of this is sometimes something, say for example, you've written something in 2016 or 2017, but it
Right.
has found the light of the day in 2022 and 2023. So when you
Right.
are releasing it,
Mm-hmm.
how do you ensure relevance, or how do you ensure that it breaks through all the clutter? Because there are there is a superseding, a largely over excess of art also out there, because we've seen too many, we've seen a rise in movies and the rise of shows and the rise of music and all sort of art forms in the last couple of years. So in such a scenario, how does one ensure relevance, or how does one, or is that even something that should be of an artist's concern, in your opinion?
I mean, everything's kind of an artist concern. You have to have multiple hands right now for sure. But I think I still believe in it, despite like a lot of evidence working against it. I still believe the more honest art you create, and I know it's like a very cliched thing to say, oh, just write honest music, it'll happen. But I believe that eventually you come back to it, right? You come back to these things and you realize how much truth they hold. And I feel like, yeah, it does happen that uh, if you write really good, honest to you art, it will break through the clutter, because not everyone's doing that, and not
Yeah,
nearly no one's doing that. No one. The more you are yourself, the
yeah.
more people will. I think Jacob Collier said, "The weirder you are." I like something along the lines. I'm always paraphrasing, but he said that the more you become yourself and the weirder you are, the more people will connect to you. And I believe in that. The more you become like an idea, like a version of yourself that is unique to you, you're not going to sound like anyone else. It's going to be impossible to copy that. And for sure, there's a pressure for relevance and there's a pressure for visibility on this, especially when the grounds are all open, right? Everyone can just kind of go on and create an Instagram account and just like do whatever they want, right? I try to think of it as a liberating factor, but obviously it can feel like a crushing burden most of the times. But I believe that, yeah, good music might shine through, because I like a bunch of people came through for me, and they had no reason to, except that like I'm just a dude from Bhopal, right? Like they didn't have to do this. You don't have to do this, but people get it. You'll get it. You'll get the point, and I believe in that bit for sure. Yeah, that
Yeah.
I know, as long as you're making art, I guess something will come through.
Absolutely. Well said. I think, I mean, to conclude from what I can take from your answer is, at the end of the day, emotions are timeless.
Yeah.
Resonance is timeless. And
Yeah.
as long, I mean, we are still living in a day and age where a song, where some song created back in the 1960s or 1970s
Yeah.
is still finding a beating heart somewhere. So, I mean, it's not something that should be bothersome. But like you rightly said, as long as the intent is there and you are creating music because
100%.
that's a piece of heart that you are putting out for
Yeah,
yourself and for the world, of course it will find people
yeah,
along the way. Let's talk
yeah,
about your initial beginnings, Shikhar. As a young lad
yeah.
growing up in Bhopal, what did your immediate landscape and surroundings look like? And where did you um, where did it first strike you that music was your calling in life?
I think there's never been like for me like there's never been like a plan B. As soon as I got it, I got it. For me, it's been like a realization that I had once, and I was like, yeah, that's what I'm gonna do, I guess. I would say that I mean, I would go to these gigs, and I would go to a bunch of metal gigs, and I would wear like the band T-shirts that I haven't heard of, like that. I haven't heard whatever this band is, and there was a metal scene thriving back in the day, and I would go to these gigs, and I happened to not fully relate to that music, so I still didn't think it would be my calling, and I was playing guitar. Everyone plays guitar because every dude plays guitar. I don't think there's reason or like there can be any sort of like a deeper meaning attached to just starting out with the guitar at least. Obviously, it became like an entire thing later on, but I found some really good musicians playing in the scene. There was a blues band, Lal and the People, that was coming out of the city just as I was just like very impressionable and be like, what's up, what's up? And that kind of music just spoke to me. I ended up learning guitars from like the lead guitar player, and we used to just kind of sit and explore music together. And that was tired of like, and as soon as I saw the craft of songwriting, I started listening to John Mayer, started listening to like Ed Sheeran for that matter. I think has given so many people like an insight into what a songwriter is like. For he's the people songwriter for sure. Like he writes song and he talks about writing a song, and he kind of put it back on the map for sure. So all these artists I listened, and I was like, oh shit, there's a craft to it, and that makes sense to me. Okay, I think I can write a song, and I started writing music, and that was just like everything. I just got like, oh shit, yeah, this is me. The guitar playing thing, great. The singing thing, okay, nice, whatever. But sitting behind a pen and paper and just being like tongue in cheek, just thinking about what's up. Yeah, how do we fix this? How do we make what do we put next? What's exciting? So I think songwriting was really something that spoke to me, and I never looked back. I never thought, oh, what do I do something else? I never thought that because I there was no way. There was no way. The way that art moved me for the first time in my life, I couldn't have done anything else, even if I wanted to. So yeah, that was kind of how I started listening to music. Then eventually I moved to music. I went for music school in Bombay. I went to school of music. Went there for like a year and a half, I think. And then I was like, okay, enough of the instructions. And plus, I hated like just gotta work on an album. Came back to Bhopal. I was like just happy enough that my friend Aman, who's my producer, he was living in
Mm.
Bhopal, and he was like, let's make a record. He was working on a Samar Mehdi record. So I was seeing all these great talented artists in Bhopal, like Samar Mehdi, Rohit Lalwani. There was a friend of mine called Sharad. He has this band called Zaban. They have so there were all these great songwriters and there's these great players, and I was just like, yeah, that's crazy. And Aman was working actually on the first Samar Mehdi album then, and he was like, yeah, let's work on a record. And I was like, let us. And we ended up working together. Then the pandemic hit as soon as we sort of just started putting the sort of like two and two together. What's up? And yeah, it took us 1.5 years, 2 years, I think, to make the record. But we went through a period of rediscovering ourselves as artists and thinking about what kind of statement we want to make and what kind of because we wanted to make art that was forward. So yeah, all of that happened in Bhopal, and yeah, I yeah, that's pretty cool, I think.
Let me ask you this. Since you spoke about all these amazing talents that you came across, you stumbled upon while being in Bhopal.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, over the last couple of years, we have discovered the origins of so many of these amazing artists from Bhopal or even from Indore. I believe Ashwin Advani hails from
I
Indore.
was just on the phone with Ashwin. That's great. Yeah.
Yes, then Sameer Rahat also, who is now doing some brilliant work and who is just about to make his major theatrical debut as a composer. He hails originally from Bhopal.
Yeah.
Saman Mehdi that you spoke about, and
Yeah.
I also know of a very popular DJ slash producer Paranox, who also comes from Bhopal.
Oh yeah, I've heard of him.
Yes,
I don't think I've known
yes.
him, but yeah.
So for many organizers, promoters, or for the biggies who think who always who are looking out, or rather, let me rephrase this question. For many people who believe that a lot of the indie music energy only hails from the three big cities or four big cities, and I'm talking about Delhi, Mumbai, Bangalore, and Pune.
Right.
What would you tell them about the presence of indie music, or what would you like to tell them about just the growth and the evolution of music in general in a city like Bhopal, because we don't even put Bhopal in the top tier metropolitan cities yet. I
Yeah,
mean, we still
it's
look
really not. It's really not. Yeah.
we still look at it as a tier 2 city in the country.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
what do you want to tell people who are possibly watching this interaction as to what is the music landscape in Bhopal city or in the
I
likes of cities like Bhopal?
Okay. I feel I've always ended up loving sort of smaller city bands and smaller city artists more, almost because they've never had to confine to get into
Yeah.
festivals or get into gigs. They've never had to too much be like, because there are no shows, and they've never had to do like, um, I don't know. They just made art in their room because they wanted to, not because there was like a college gig happening, or like a festival happening, or like whatever's happening in bigger cities. People do art because they couldn't help but. And I think that a lot of strong artists, I love Delhi artists a lot, despite it being a big city. The artists from that city feel like a smaller city's artists. They feel
Yeah.
like, you go out of you go outside TPM, and you'll find like all of these songwriters just chilling outside, coming to a gig. It's like a very nice um, community. So I believe, yeah, I don't think
And for those
geographically
who do not,
speaking.
sorry to cut you, for those who do not know by TPM, you mean the piano
Yeah,
man?
the Piano Man Jazz Club. Yes. So
Yeah.
essentially, I feel that I don't think geographically you should think about, oh, that band is from Kanpur or whatever, right? I think there's a lot of centricity in smaller places. I think in India in general, I feel like a lot of the good music we make is because of
Yeah.
how eccentric our culture is and how weird we are. We're a small country. I mean, we're a lot of people, but we don't. We're like, yeah, but there's a really good cultural density inside us, and yeah, the more we um, kind of accept, and not only accept and project even the kind of goodness and eccentricity we have because of our geography. Yeah, I don't think anybody should think about where people are from, just and the art should be the main focus. But yeah, it does happen. If you tell someone you're from, like, oh yeah, oh, you're from Indore, okay, oh, you're
Oh.
from Bhopal, isn't that just like Indore? Like, no, it's first of all we're rivals. There's a Bhopal Indore rivalry happening. It's thing. Like, do not call me Indore. That's the worst thing you can call me after. Like,
But why it became imperative for me to ask this question to you, Shikhar, is because I was talking to another artist hailing from Hyderabad, and she
right.
said that, even if she has to mention that, she comes from Hyderabad because, unfortunately, you know, the towering presence of commercial music in Hyderabad, overpowers the scene for or overpowers the prospects for independent music scene to flourish in the city. Whenever she has pitched herself, she has said that she has always faced this mental block from the opposite person, saying that, oh, you come from so and so city. It's like they feel like it's a dead end that they have met there. So, which is why when I'm speaking to artists like your kind who come from other cities where this culture is sort of still reaching there, you could say. I mean, we fortunately now we do have popular acts who are doing a 10 city tour or a 15 city tour.
Right.
So clearly there is potential waiting to be tapped. Is that correct?
100%. I feel like smaller cities have a booming talent. Like summer, I mean, like I don't think anybody makes art like nobody has ever done what Summer did in like from his first few records, and nobody's ever done what a lot of the people did. They haven't released a record in a bit, so I think we might be grasping at straws. But um, yeah, I feel like there's so many smaller city artists that just are so good. That is so good. Even there's so much happening in Ahmedabad, Baroda. There's so much happening
Yeah,
in Pune. I mean, okay, Pune is a bigger city for sure, but it's still like there's. I don't know if you know Nida, Derek and Nida. They're
of course.
incredible art. They're the best, and yeah, I feel like there's so much happening which isn't in Bombay, Delhi, for sure. Yeah.
I mean, Shikhar, in your right, you have also been a session musician for a lot of amazing artists, whether you worked on Kwab with Anumita,
Oh yeah, yeah,
Jugnu with Ashwin,
yeah.
with Abhin and Tanish while making Kami Hai, and very recently you collaborated with Akanksha Sethi for Ek Pal.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
yes. So while working with these different artists, if I can ask you, what are the different things that you have learned from these artists, and it is something that you feel that you could inculcate, and it's a good quality to keep.
Okay, so I would 100% say that I'm not a great session musician in a way that I am not very transparent, okay? In a fashion that a lot of session musicians, you go, oh, just play a G major for me, and they'll just play the G major for you, and you'll get it, right? But the people who come to me by the virtue of having come to me, they've already heard that I don't play it I wouldn't like they'll come to me because they know how I play, or they know sort of that I wouldn't just give them like, oh, I played this, take it, sort of a thing. So by the virtue of it, I have to add something fun to it, and I have to add something, and I obviously play for the song, and you have to listen to the song and what song demands and what it's calling for. But it's sometimes a little out there and a little bit of out of reach. So even for Jugnu, um, there's this guitar riff that I had like just an idea on my phone, and like I just recorded and sent it to, which is like a pre-chorus thing, and it's a little guitar, like a little more like guitar centric. There's a guitar groove to the parts I play. They're a little more forefront. They don't light too much in the backlight. So I feel like I think that's what makes my work in songs sort of like unique also, that it kind of, it isn't about me, but it like maybe it's like a little bit more guitar centric. But yeah, I think everyone who kind of hits me up kind of knows it already. So yeah, session work, great. I love it. I love playing on other people's songs. I cannot help. Like so for example, there's a friend of mine called Lakshya Khurana. He has this outfit called Mamuli. He's played
Yeah.
on a Bhargex Ravel. He's sung on a Bhargex Ravel song also, and I'm playing on his next single. I don't know if he's announced it already. So yeah, I played on his next song, and I wasn't actually supposed to play on it. Aman, my friend, was mixing it, and I just called Lakshaki, dude, listen, dude, it's such a great song. Let me just hop on and send you something. I am sure you'll like it. And we recorded something, we sent it across, and he was like, yeah, dude, I love it. And I was like, yeah, that's great. So yeah, if somebody plays me a song, if somebody sends me a song, I will do it. But sometimes I'll be like, okay, that's a great song. Can I play on it? But yeah, I feel like session musician wise, I take a little more leeway. I take a little more freedom. But yeah, I'm always listening. I'm always listening. If they're like, yeah, you're playing too much, man, I'll be like, yeah, okay, fair. I get it. Yeah. So that's what happens from me. I don't think I'm a great like transparent session musician, but I think I do what I do well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shikhar, let's talk about the amazing rapport, or should I say the bonhomie that you share with Aman Arak,
Oh
somebody
yeah.
who is an absolutely amazing producer and mix and mastering engineer who has worked on some of the best releases that I know of in recent memory. But what is the special bond that you both share?
Oh man, I think yeah, Aman is just one of the few people that I know who have felt moved by art so deeply and are articulate about it. Like they talk about how much like music means to them, and it's been crazy. 2 years when we were making the record, we were friends before that also, but like we were good friends. But like you can't make a record without becoming like absolute best friends with someone. And essentially we were just locked in a room, like we had nowhere to go. It was like we had lockdowns and stuff during the pandemic, and we would just work till 3 on the record, and or like sometimes just push till like we can get something to eat right outside his house, and like till 5:30 we'll get something to eat, we'll work all night, talk about music. And like obviously working on a record is not just working on the record. You also like reference a lot of art, right? You go like, oh dude, you know what, Lizzie McAlpine's doing some crazy things right now. So we'll be like, oh yeah, play me that, whatever you're talking about, and we'll go through it. So yeah, Aman is such a smart person and like it. I've always had a hard time. That's why I became a singer-songwriter, because I was like, I could never let loose my creative control to an entire band, right? Because I could be like, yeah, I'm selfish about the things I create, and because they are things that I make, right? And for the first time in my life, I got what it meant to have a collaborator, like to someone you entrust your vision with. Because I would come in and I would come into the studio all inspired. Like we would both be inspired about things, right? So, but sometimes I would just come into the studio and I'd be like, bro, Aman, I feel like we should make it more like Radiohead. And instead of going like, what does that even mean? He goes like, play me something. I think I know what you mean. And I'd play him something and I'd be like, yo, we need to get that. We need to can we make the guitars like hotter? He's like, what do you mean? Right, yeah, like artists come up to me, like artists come up to artists like, and they're like, oh, dude, can we do this and do and mean like just the weirdest words ever. And I'd be like, yo, can we use that very weird bell like glockenspiel thing happening in No Surprises? I want that, but like for this song, and I want to use this for that, whatever. And he'd be very patient, be like, I think I know what you're getting at. And whenever I pinpoint an idea, he'd be very patient, because I love to be like, just like both of us. He just has a better way of articulating it. I just love like being, I think you can be nothing else but a lover of the arts in the studio. So I would just bring up all sorts of things I've been inspired by, that, dude, it can be this, but it needs to have the soul of that. And so yeah, that's just like, and he got it. And despite how funny it sounded, he got it. And we went through a lot of problems together, and we solved a lot of problems together. And he's the first producer that has ever gotten what I've been trying to say, and who has not, even if he didn't get it, he was like, yeah, let's search for it together, let's find it. And for 2 years, 1.5 years at least, we were working on it, we were re-recording, and we're both very insatiable artists, that we don't say that, oh yeah, we're great, yeah, that was great, first demo recording, great vocal, let's just use this. Although we did use a demo vocal in one of the final songs. um, but we redid the song so many times, because we were like, oh, this is not working, this is not the direction we should go. And we had the like, because of him, we both had like the courage to be like, okay, let's redo it. And to be able to work with someone who gets your vision has been the only defining factor, because I would have it no other way. he gets what I where I want to go, and yeah, that has been the best. He's the best at getting it. Yeah,
But that's
just with that.
incredible, right? That speaks of the unwavering trust and respect that both of you have for each other, not just as
Mm.
professional artists, but also as friends. Because like you literally throw in vague, ambiguous terms at each other, and the other person just gets it. So I think that speaks hugely about what is it that both of you share as
Yeah,
artists.
yeah.
Um, Coming to one of my favorite questions, Shikhar, I'm a firm believer of the feeling of community, the feeling of growing together also as one. So, if I may ask you, who are some of the amazing Indian independent music talents that you have been listening to at leisure? Yeah, it looks like
There's
you
so many.
already have a massive list
There are
to.
so many. There are so many, dude. As big a fan of Tejas as I am of John Mayer or I am of like Jeff Buckley, right? Because I was always listening to these artists when I was growing up. I like, yeah, and whatever. Everyone's like, oh, but yeah, he's so good. Tejas is one of my biggest inspirations. He's also like the chillest guy, I'm sure.
Yeah,
You've spoken
he
to him,
is.
and he's
I
the
have.
nicest dude on earth. And there's what other artists? There's Samar Mehdi, who's such an incredible artist. There's Still Apes, but like they have all the accolades. I don't me talking about it like they don't even need it. They're so good. Uh, yeah, there's Cinema of Excess, Bangalore.
Hmm?
They're incredible. There's good stuff happening from the Revisit project. There is, dude,
Always.
I'm a big fan of Bharg Rawal. I'm a big fan of Bharg. I texted like I was in playing a show in Delhi and I texted Bharg, "Yo, dude, please show up." And we have like a bunch of mutuals, so he was like, "Yeah, I'll show up." And it was like I was like, "Dude, I need a photo with you." It was great. I'm a huge fan of what they do as producers, and I used to listen to the Light Years Explode a lot.
Yeah.
What was their record? So always been a record guy. So I used to, what was the record called? The Revenge of Kali Charan. Was that the album they had
I
back in
think that
2015?
was. I think that
Yeah,
was
and I
one.
was
Yeah,
like, that
Revenge
is so
of
cool.
Kali Charan.
I'm a huge
I remember Kali
Spudden.
Charan, but I don't remember.
Yeah, I think it's the Revenge of the Kali Charan. I love that record. Diet Coke and everything was so fun, and Kunj Gutka was so fun as well. And that song, Spud in the Box. Spud in the Box was
Spud in
so
the
cool.
Box. Yeah.
And Nida and Derek, who are also Pune-based artists, I'm a huge fan of them because they're doing something which is just like on another tangent. And when we get to hear them, Anushka Maske, so good,
Hmm.
so good. Songwriting, it's she's not pretentious like I am, so you'll never see her talk about like things that like random like poetry or
What makes
whatever.
you? What makes
But
you believe that you're pretentious?
I'm very pretentious and I love it. But she'll never be like, she'll never be that. And but yet, when you go into her lyrics, it's like, yeah, somebody's put like deep thought behind this. So
Mm.
I love Anushka Maske. And there's very, very cool artists that are coming from the country that I'm just the biggest fan of. Oh, Easy Wanderlings. What a record. What a record. So yeah, I think there's so many cool emerging artists that are gonna kind of change the landscape that I'm a huge fan of, and I've always been a huge fan of the indie. Okay, I want to just put this on the record. I was a Prateek Kuhad fan before it was cool to be a Prateek Kuhad fan. I had heard all the In Tokens and Charms, I think, is one of the
Yeah.
best albums that has been. It was a great. You could listen to the first song and all the way to the end of it. Pratik Kuhad has been making quality music, and he's been doing it for like a very, very long time. And I remember when I used to like, he was opening for Lucy Rose, I believe,
Yeah.
in Delhi, and there were like only 15 people watching him in the crowd, and I was one of them, and I was like, these guys don't get it. And then I'm so happy
Right.
that people got it. And then people got it, got the point. So yeah, I've been a huge Pratik Kaur fan. I met him. That's the time you could meet Pratik right outside his gig, and he was like having a cigarette or
Yeah.
something, right? So yeah, I'm a huge Pratik Kaur fan. Love his new records also.
Yeah.
Uh, so yeah, that's one of a few of the artists that I've been inspired by deeply. Yeah.
Lastly, Shikhar, before we conclude, now that we have entered a brand new year with brand new energies, with brand new aspirations in mind, um, what's next in the pipeline? Or do you think would you like to take this year only to work upon new material? Could you share something with us?
I want to do everything, honestly. I'm working on new material already. There's some stuff that hadn't come out from the last chunk of stuff, which is also gonna kind of come out. And I'm also gonna be touring a lot more. The band is finally kind of sounding really great together. I think I have some like really cool surprises for the coming months. And I'm excited. I'm excited. Yeah.
Well, can't wait to hear some of the amazing stuff that you have in store for us. Thank you so much, Shikhar, for talking to me today on VG's
Thank you
playlist.
so much for
And
having me. And always putting me on like Vijay's playlist. That's also the best. Thank you.
I mean, I don't know any better, but thank you so much once again, Shikhar, for giving me your time and for trusting me to share your story
Thank you for
with.
having me on here.
I wish you all the very best, and here's to good music.
It's a good music. Thank you so much.